you feel like the Black community in general has allowed Black, gay, or lesbian people to be a part of the conversation?
Absolutely not. Because I vote. I have the right to vote. And if you're not German, you cannot vote. But then again, I am an African. On my passport, born in Ghana, nationality German. So what do you want me to say? We are more than sexual objects. Human beings are more than just a little part of us. So for me, when it comes to the Ghanaian community, with the new generation, it works. But with the older folks, they call me Antichrist. Not kidding. Yes. We want to be represented as Black, but we want to select what kind of Blacks need to be represented. That's the thing. People should just drink water.
Ernest,
Thank you for coming.
Good to have you.
Yeah.
I'm going to try and go through this podcast without speaking Chi. Because
let's do it.
It's difficult. It's difficult.
I try to.
When I meet a Ghanaian, the Chi just comes out. So we're gonna try and Kakra. Try and not do it in Chi. Okay. So welcome.
Thank you.
Tell us a little bit about yourself. Just this short snippet story about yourself.
A little bit. Where should I start from?
Start from
Ernest, Ghanaian, living in Germany, now German. I would say now, forever. Working.
How long have you been in Germany?
Since 2012.
Okay.
I've been here, so I think 12 years. Damn, that's a long
time.
Jeez.
Already?
No, take away COVID. Those years don't count. We didn't do anything.
It counts. We like to say COVID years don't count, but it counts. We did a lot during COVID.
I didn't do anything though. I just saw 2 years go by without doing nothing. But yeah, 12 years. Okay, Hunting. Been here.
And how has it been for you so far? If you're going to summarize your time.
It's been good. I mean, I always say home is where you can feel safe. And I feel much safer here. And this is the place where I got to grow, because I came when I was about my 24 to 25. So it was kind of the peak of my teenage area. So I got to learn more about myself, know who I am, and even got to know that I was that smart and intelligent. Because Ghana, what am I thinking?
I knew you were going to do it. I knew it. Yeah, I knew you were going to do that.
Because sometimes all of the words come better out when it's
I understand.
Totally but in Ghana, when you don't come first in a class and you come in the middle, people think you are dumb or you're not smart.
Yeah.
But probably here taught me it's not every subject that I'm good at. There are some subjects that I'm very good at. And I had to, he also gave me the opportunity to know even how to learn, not just chew and pour, but like really learn to
understand.
Yes, learn to understand. So it's been good so far. For me, it's been good. It's not perfect, but it's been good. If you give me the problems of Ghana and give me the problems of Germany, let me swim in German.
Yeah?
Yes.
I feel you. Even though you are fairly new here, I think this question, I pretty much ask everybody this question, so I would like to know what you think.
Yeah.
What do you think is the state of Black Germany at the moment?
The state of Black Germany at the moment, the world is changing quite fast, so sometimes you can't even predict. But if it wasn't for the crazy moment now, we're kind of progressing. I would say when I came, I wasn't seeing so much about anything Black outside. I mean, I lived in Berlin, even though it's a capital city. Everything was just blonde, blue eyes. Even though there were African community, Ghanaian community, and the other West African, the other African countries there. But generals are going to Rossmann, when it comes to everyday life stuff, you wouldn't see any representation. And after some time, 2015, 16, things started changing. So you walk out and you see billboard with dark skin.
This is in Berlin?
Yes.
Okay.
This is in Berlin. And
I thought Berlin was the most diverse.
It is diverse, but the thing is, Africans were not showing up. We just stay in our little corner. Like when I came in and I was very out because I lived with the Germans, so I'm always in the German, and everywhere I go, I find myself being the only Black person in the room. Beginning, it was a little bit like, it got to a point I felt I wasn't even Black anymore because I was so getting white everywhere, that you're always black, and then you find another black person, they're just too black. But then you realize this black person is very much in the German circle. So I find like we were so much keeping ourselves in our little corner and not integrating, like spreading our wings. So now it's progressing. I see black police. You see, I've seen black bus drivers, like areas where the work that I'm doing, there's a lot of few blacks that I've seen, and we are not just being told we have to do cleaning jobs and those kind of jobs. That kept us little, so it kept us, we were not visible, but now there's more visibility, so we are progressing, I would say.
Okay, so as a community, there's a lot of progression, and black people are more visible and you can see, but within the community itself, within the black community itself, and the way the black people relate to each other, what have you seen any difference between when we started and now?
So I'll speak in terms of Ghana because I'm from Ghana. When I came, I was told not to deal with Ghanaians or my people. I have to stick to myself. And I would say, me personally, I have faced prejudice. Racism is a whole different story. Prejudice and a bit of phrases from my own people, because I'm different. I do not fit into the very typical Ghanaian man. I live after, look, I've done my hair, I'm a little bit feminine, masculine, so I don't fit into the box. And Ghanaians, I'll speak because I'm Ghanaian, we tend to alien people when we don't feel they are like us. So when I came, it actually helped me to stay in the German community because I was eliminated. Even though later I did stuff to push Ghanaians, to push Africans, in my everyday interaction life, I was more in the Germans because I went to a club, African club, and an African guy came up to me and kind of like, why do you look like a girl? Why are you gay? And all kind of stuff. But I never had that in a German club or in the settings of German. In fact, I was more celebrated. But among the Ghanaians, now it's changing a bit because the generation is a bit different. But when I came, just being tolerated, or they will say it to your face. And even today, like last year or so, I was at an event and some people came up talking about them like, you don't have to talk about these things. I mean, these are private life issues. Imagine it was a woman, an elderly woman. I said, if I imagine you being told you are a baby making machine, how would you feel? We are more than sexual objects. There's more, human beings are more than just a little part of us. So for me, when it comes to the Ghanaian community, with the new generation, it works. But with the older folks, they call me Antichrist. Not kidding.
Wow.
Yes.
And how did you deal with that? Getting it from like your own people. How did that make you feel? How did you deal with that?
Well, I think Ghana taught me a good lesson. I mean, I grew up in Ghana. I went to school in Ghana. And I was very tough. My mom is a very tough woman. So we were instilled with confidence. I never had to crave for love from anybody because I have full love from my parents. So that's one thing I would say to parents, that they need to be available. They need to show love to their kids because this is what goes along with them. So I was very self-aware of myself and very confident. And I didn't need acceptance from anybody because however I will see outside, like when I go out, I leave the house. I don't go to a friend to get dressed. My mother actually will dress me up.
Oh, okay.
So that gave me this self-confidence that I don't need to bother myself with what people say. So when I moved to Germany, I just applied that I just have to ignore, focus on the things that I want to do, why I'm here, and my life as living here. And that's what helped me. So I just ignore a lot of people.
So obviously you're very fashionable. You're very bold.
Yes.
How has your fashion sense and your boldness, how has it been received? by the Black community?
It has been good. So back in 2014 or 15, I hosted an event, Face of Africa Germany, which was like the version of German Next Top Model that I did. Because I realized that on the TVs, we didn't find any Black girls who were not represented. So I wanted to create something that will bring more of us in the fashion scene. And before that, I was working in the fashion industry. So Berlin Fashion Week, and I'm professionally a model trainer. So I train models how to walk in the heels. And I was being booked for different fashion events organized by German companies. So I'll be the only Black person training a bunch of girls. And I was also doing some training here in Hamburg, also some photographers. They will organize girls, so what kind of a workshop. So it was quite good. Training them wasn't just to teach them how to walk, but also instill confidence to be able to carry yourself, know how to walk in your heels and then just pack it. So when I did the event, Face of Africa, there were about 24 African ambassadors that were there, because initially we were talking to them, and we had a lot of people coming in. And when I look at that, at the boss from Ethiopian Airline was there, and the message after the event was, "Oh, wow, we've never seen such a thing in Berlin," and it was good. So it told me how well they received it. But on the other side of that coin, I was being told I'm Antichrist, because I am.
That is a very heavy thing to say to
someone. Oh yeah. Oh yes.
That's a very, very heavy thing to say to someone.
People, like friends of mine, go to Afro shop, and they'll be talking about me, and they really did talk about me. And they're like, oh, when they meet me, they'll pray for me so that I'll change. I'm like, wow. Okay, that's quite. So the people that were more integrated and more open-minded, like the fact that you are out there, you are representing, you are pushing. But the other side of the coin that are not more integrated or just live in their own little bubble, just saw me to be something of the devil.
I mean, I'm not going to say, because in the UK, there once was very horrible homophobia, which usually came from, as Black people, our backgrounds, from wherever we're from, whether we're from Jamaica or we're from Ghana or whatever. But recently, it's a lot better from what I see. There's a lot more openness, I believe. Well, obviously, I can't say for sure. That's I'm not within the lifestyle to know that that's what's going on. But I can tell that there is openness in at least to conversate.
Yes.
And not to just judge people and just dismiss people. Do you think that we've reached that sort of place in Germany, or do you think it's getting there, or do you think not at all?
I will stay in the middle, because when it comes to Africans in Germany or Black people in Germany, there's different categories. There are those of us that came here when we were in our middle age. There are those that were brought when they were in their very toddlers. There are those that were born here, and there are those that have been here. So you have different angle of people you are dealing with. So when you deal with the people like myself that have been here for 12 years, there's more openness. When you deal with the younger ones that have been here from 8 years, they were brought when they were 8, there's a lot of openness.
Okay.
When you deal with those that were born here, there's way openness.
Okay.
But when you deal with those that
just came,
but due to circumstances like permission to live here and all of that, they couldn't integrate themselves, they couldn't put themselves out, so they have to do so jobs, try to hide themselves. There is a problem. So I can't put everybody in a box, because it's a different
I see
category of people you're going to deal with. So you have to always look at how long the person have been here and what the person is doing. This would always tell me how I can, or in which direction I can talk to them. So when you ask the person, oh, how long you've been here? Oh, I've been here for 3 years. What do you do? I'm in university. That's a different person. You can talk to them, because school may not make you completely open, but you'll be more ready to talk and not to accept and be tolerate a bit, because you learn a lot. But when you meet someone and you're, oh, how long have you been? You've been here for 25 years. What do you do? They are not really doing anything really. They're just making the money. They are not integrated. I always use the word integration because when I came, I had to be taken to school. And one thing that I realized in a German school is when you go, I always tell people, they wash your brain and re-implant new things. So you get to know what is your right, what is your left. You just don't go to learn the language. You also go to learn about how to live in Germany and what Germany is all about. Your right to vote, your right, even when someone insults you and somebody is there, how much Strafe, we say, how much penalty the people will get. So it gives me the power that you cannot just insult me and go scot-free. If you, like social media, for example, there were times when people think they could bully me. They write stuff and I ask them, are you living in Germany? They're like, yes. I said, that's all I need. Because the only thing I need is to print out what you write to me, send it to the police, right? They'll figure out, they'll figure out where you live, because every internet thing has an IP address. And with the IP address, they will know who wrote what. You'll be there, you get a yellow paper or brown paper.
Wow.
We'll meet you in court.
That is really good.
You cannot use your finger on somebody and go scot-free. So I took those things serious when I was in school. And therefore, I was very equipped when I stepped outside. So it gave me this power that nobody can just bully me or just because they did it to me when I was younger, back from where I'm from, because there were no laws to protect me. But here there are laws to protect me based on my sexuality or based on my looks. Nobody can just do that. So depends on who you are dealing with, on the kind of people, then you know the mind level of understanding of how openness you can have a conversation with them. So yeah, so far, different people, different topics.
So, okay, it's pretty much the standard, but I don't want to do that.
Yes.
On social media, there's been a lot of comments on our social media in terms of Black German. And
what are they saying?
There's a lot of people saying that what actually is Black German? There's no such thing as Black German. As a person from Ghana who moved to Germany, and you just refer to yourself as Black German.
Yes, I'm Afro-German. Hello.
How did you get from that level of... Explain the nuance here a little bit, because you're Ghanaian and you're also Afro-German. How did you get from that level of being Ghanaian to now calling yourself Afro-German?
Well, they can like it or not. I'm Afro-German, whether I like it or not. The thing is, so how did I get to be Afro-German? When you live here, right now as I'm sitting here, when you ask me for my Ghana passport, I don't have it. Because of my profession, to be a flight attendant, you have to have a European passport. And in Germany, you cannot hold, now they've changed the law. But before I came, you cannot have two passports. So either you are Ghanaian passport with unlimited residence, or you are German by naturalization. And the moment I changed it, I became an Afro-German.
So the moment your passport changed, you considered yourself Afro-German.
I don't have to be born before I became Afro-German. Because I vote. I have the right to vote. And if you're not German, you cannot vote. But then again, I'm an African. On my passport, born in German, nationality, born in Ghana, nationality German. So what do you want me to say?
I mean, it's always like, and especially is when when white people say, I'm like, okay, I get why you would say that. But when Black people say, like, what is Afro-German? Why, you're not Afro-German, you're just an African in Germany. And I'm thinking, that is so small-minded, because you can be both and celebrate both.
Of course.
I mean, for example, me, like, since I got my, not even since I got my British passport, I've had my British passport for a very long time, but I have always considered myself Black British.
Yes.
But if you ask me where are you from, I'll tell you I'm Ghanaian.
I'm Ghanaian.
So,
but I'm German and I'm Ghanaian and German. And it's the perfect
Exactly.
thing. Some days when I'm late, I feel, oh, this is Ghana. Yeah. Some days I'm early, this is German.
Yeah.
People should chill.
Yeah.
It's not that deep. And if I say I'm Afro-German, that is my problem. Why are you bothered?
Yeah, a lot of people were getting very, very, were questioning it a lot.
I don't
And
understand.
for me, I think when you adopt the Afro-German or Black British thing, it's a form of unity. There's a unity behind it.
And it makes you grow. Because now, for example, after school, I realized that there's certain things that I was doing as a Ghanaian, I had to let it out. I haven't abandoned my identity as being Ghanaian, but then I also identify myself as being German in a sense that I've picked different cultures. So I have two cultures and I've blended the two, and this is where you get Afro-German. Because now you're not just behaving, like people even tell my English has gotten bad. Because sometimes when I construct sentences,
Constructed German.
yes, you realize that my construction is each. But before it wasn't like that. So your thinking, the way you think, the way you see things changes, and it's not a bad thing.
I've never actually thought about it that way. Good point.
It changes and it helps you to understand. I went to Ghana last year or so, or last 2 years, and I was like, why are they saying our country is developed? It's developing. Because for me, and this is me, people can get mad, that's their problem. A developing country is where always use the Maslow's theory of needs, where people have hierarchy. People cannot even afford the basic needs. So how is it developing? You might be rich, but your security is not safe. So how is that developing?
That is true. The hospitals are not good enough.
Now this is where the Afro-German comes in. When I was living in Ghana, that was normal for me. People living there a lot, it is normal for them. But now since I'm living here, and since I'm being introduced to a different culture, I've picked up, I find it's a problem there. I saw a lady selling this Ilewonyo on the street with a big belly. I think she was probably 6 or 7 months pregnant. And she was selling, and my heart was beating. Like, why? Because here I know, especially the job that I do, the moment you know that you are pregnant, you go out of work. And you're going to be paid throughout the time you are pregnant, giving birth, and 1 year on top of it. But here is someone almost close to labor, and she has to be on the street selling.
In the very least, she needs to be sitting down and resting.
Exactly. And there it is normal. But it shouldn't be normal.
So what you're saying is the Afro-German is also a mindset.
It's a mindset. It also changes it makes you see things differently. I'm not saying here it's perfect. We have our own problems.
Oh, yeah.
But there are certain things that it gives you a big open picture. Like you can see the field bigger than seeing it on a narrow. Because when I speak to people down there, for them, it is normal. They don't see any problem with it. And I'm sitting here, I get like...
You get worried, yeah.
How is this normal?
I have never thought about it that way. So it's not just the fact that you're in Germany, but it's the fact that your mindset changes from that of a Ghanaian to that of a German. Yeah.
When you allow yourself to be integrated into the system, because there are also another faction where they haven't integrated, so they are living like they are living in Ghana. But the funny thing is, they are worse than those in Ghana. The Ghanaians are more progressive.
Oh, yeah.
And they are stuck. And it's normal because there's a saying that when people leave their country, they feel like they are lost a part of them. So they hold on to that which they're thinking they are losing. So they become very radical. So those that don't get integrated, or they feel when they become integrated into the system, they might lose their identity as Ghanaians or as Africans, hold on to this mentality whereby when you go down there, the people there have already moved on. So it's a mental state. When I feel Afro-German, and if you have a problem with it, it's your problem. You can jump into the sea.
I mean,
I don't
jump into the sea.
Yeah,
I mean,
it
was a big shock for me that when I saw black people say that, because in the UK you would never. Well, I don't think I've ever had a black
child that is born here, for example, is more Afro-German than because half of him is African and the other half is German. Where do you want to put that child? They can be African, they can be German. So they blend the two. It's not a big deal. People should just drink water.
The hair thing, the Afro hair thing, is it? Because I know in the UK a while back it was an issue where we started realizing that companies were looking at it as unprofessional.
Yeah.
Is it a thing in Germany? Is it still a thing?
I mean, Germans are very relaxed. That's why, for me personally, I love it. I could go with my Afro hair combed to work. Nobody really cares, probably because of the kind of work that I do. I don't know about other professions, but my job, it's quite relaxed. You're very diverse. You're very open. People have yellow hair coming in. Nobody really cares that much. So long as you're doing your job and you're fitting into we have a way you have to look, fitting into your uniform and everything is fine. But in other areas, it's quite difficult. It's just, now Africans are it. We are in the system. Everything is, you see a lot of hair products. Germany, for me so far, when it comes to hair, it's been more relaxed. Most of the time, these discourse I see among Americans always having problems.
The UK is bad.
Oh, gee. It's always there. But in Germany, I really hardly, personally, I always say personally because social media, I don't want people coming for me.
They'll come for you regardless, so speak your mind.
It's just my personal experience. Your personal experience, I'm not disregarding it. Respect your personal experience, but this is my personal experience. I haven't had any problem with people with my hair or anybody has ever told, because some days I'm done it this way, it's natural with extra in, I always call it a lawyer, or my own natural hair, letting it out, and I don't have a problem with it. So Germany till now, it's more progressive when it comes to us here.
I was having a conversation with you earlier when I was saying that for me, I prefer the race relations in Germany than I do the UK. Because in Germany, I think Germans, like we were saying, if they like you,
they let you know.
If they don't like you, they don't mess with you.
And that is how I am. And that's what makes me Afro-German. Because now, before when I was Ghanaian, brag about show. Brag. Yes, I don't say, why do I say please? For what? There's so many things that I have changed. And it wasn't bad. Change is good. We all crave for change. Sometimes I look at my people in kind of like, we want change, but we don't really want change. Because change is not comfortable. It isn't. And I've changed so much about me. I don't call people and ask you about your dog, your son, your whatever. I call you and tell you straight what I'm looking for. And then after, if God have mercy on you, I ask you how you're doing. If not, the conversation is finished. You might call me rude, you're too straight, but I had a problem with my brother sometime and was like, oh, you're too straight. I'm like, when I'm talking to you, put away your feelings. Emotions. I'm not dealing with your emotions, because in Germany, your boss will just tell you what they have to tell you. After, get you a coffee. They don't really,
I struggled with that.
I was struggling. It's so much that it could even come in your relationship. Like you think you'd be so there thinking and going crazy in your head, but your other half don't even care about it.
You've hit a nerve.
You don't even remember what they said.
My wife does that. And I've learned to kind of, in my mind, I've learned to kind of ignore it. When she can do something, I'm like, how the hell? But then I realized, okay.
It's a German. So me too. Because my husband is German. And sometimes he says certain things. I'm like, if I was Ghanaian,
that would have hit you hard.
They would have been. Then I have to switch to think like a German. And I take it lighter. And the ones that I don't take it light, I'll be thinking. I'll go to him, let's have a conversation. He doesn't even remember what he said. He's all being lovely talking to you. I'm like, for real? So now I had to learn to take it easy. If it bothers me, I just speak about it. He will apologize, and then we go on. Because if I take it inside of me, I'm just hurting myself for no reason. Because he will sleep and wake up and go to work, give me the kiss and go. and you are laying down like, you don't know that I'm angry. How would they know that you're angry? They didn't take it that deep. And it's a cultural thing. And when you realize you become Afro-German when you are able to take these things.
Definitely not Afro-German.
That's why that, and this is
Afro-German.
where your Africanness comes in. Like, no, this part I'm still Ghanaian.
Yeah, I'm still struggling. Or British. I think British. Because the thing is, me and my wife, my sister was here a while back, and me and my sister and my wife were having a conversation. And she said something about a gift that I bought her. And I was like, how dare you? Like, do you know how much I spent on that gift? You know what I mean? And it really, like, I could tell, like, I could tell my sister wasn't feeling the comment either. And I definitely wasn't feeling the comment. So about 3 days later, I called her and I was like, that comment you made. And she was like, what comment? And I was like, you said, and she was like, and she said something about, like, oh, is that bothering you? I just meant this. And that was it. Like, she wasn't even thinking about it.
No.
Like, wow.
This is a culture. It's a culture. But when you're an African, when you're Ghanaian, like, it bothers
you.
It really bothers. So I had to, people that are close to me, I always have to tell them, don't take it too personal. Yeah. It is not about you. I'm just dealing with the situation. It's not you. It's even I have to deal with my mom. I have to deal with my brother. And they have to learn it. And then they told me, damn, you are too, my mother even tells me I'm too German now. And I realized it. When I travel to Ghana, I'm not buying presents and taking things. And no, I just have one bag. I'm taking just one bag. Because the things that you need, you can buy it here. Why should I carry a whole bag extra to? I'm coming for a holiday. I'm not coming for shopping spree. And when they need something, I'm like, just take it and buy it. I invited them here and they were like, oh my God, thank you very much. I'm like, this is normal. You should be able to visit me because I live here. You should be able to come to me whenever you want. Oh no, it's not. It's very, very normal. These little things make me realize how changed I've been. Not everything, but to make my life better. Because me, I like soft life. I want to have a soft life.
Everybody does.
So why should I, and then most importantly, the idea of glorifying poverty. No, I don't have to be very happy about being poor. But culturally, we are allowing ourselves to feel poor, victimized. When am I ever going to stay down there? You need to come out of it. So this whole people getting angry with Afro-Germans, I don't understand. Why? If you don't want to be, or if you don't feel like it, it's not about you. And that's what I've come to a point to understand. On social media, when people say something and you think it has nothing to do with you, just scroll and pass. Why take it personal? There are people out there that it's meant for them. Let them have it.
What they want, yeah.
If it's not for you, skip. And it is okay. This is where I have come with my life. Whatever I see, if it's not for me, it's not for me. And it is okay. What is for me, I will enjoy it. And that is also okay. Why can't we just allow people to just enjoy and be okay with it?
Is there a sub-community? Is there a Black LGBTQ community in Germany?
Yes.
There is. Tell me a little bit about that.
There is. So also again, among the LGBT community, we have different classismos. Since Ghana, we like classism. We bring it here too. So we are all not the same.
Interesting.
Yes. Just everything that is out there is happening. It's a human behavior. So among the LGBT, they are the ones like myself, professional. I have my job. I have my husband. We have our home. We have our kids. We have that family. They are the ones that also came to Germany. They were not so educated in such a, and it's really difficult for them to transition into the German system. So they do their things differently. It's always that. And like me, I have friends and group of friends that are just like me. We're all having different professional jobs, more in the German circle. And I don't date Black people.
Why?
I said it on camera.
Let me ask you why, because we had a huge uproar over our last episode when we discussed the relationship between black men and black women. So give me your reasons why.
I don't date African. Now I'm married.
Black people or Africans?
Black people in general, American, whatever, Ghanaian, I don't. Reason being is, I don't hide myself. I've never had a closet to come out from.
I get you.
I've always lived. I've always been. You like me, fine. You don't like me, the sea is your friend. Jump in there. So, what I find with my people is most of them are not that confident with themselves to even handle my confidence, because when you don't hide me, you will not be loving with me in the bedroom and outside like we don't know each other.
But don't you think there are some black Americans out there who are very like as confident as you?
Yes, there are. There are.
So is it a black thing or an African thing?
There are, but there's always a problem. For me, it's not just there. It's also among family relation. I'm very, very close to my family. And the one thing I tell a lot of people, whether girls, boys, is when you're dating someone, check how they are with their family. Because if they are good with their family, they are good. But most people, Africans, I don't blame them. It's also our culture. They don't allow their kids to be themselves. So some people are hiding from their parents. Yeah. They are not very good with their parents. They haven't come out to their parents. So there's a part of them that haven't accepted themselves fully. And that will play a role in the relationship, whether you like it or not. Because so long as they feel bad or guilty or ashamed because their family don't know about them, it's going to play a role in your relationship. And I cannot deal with that. I don't have time for kindergarten. I don't have time to babysit anybody. I have really worked on myself, and I'm thankful and blessed to have someone that is very confident with himself, good with a family, and also a family type, because I'm a family type. There's just like heterosexual relationship. Some want to marry, some don't want to marry. Some want to be single, some don't want to be single. Some just want to date and don't do anything. I'm a family type. So I knew that, and I wanted to settle, and I went for that. But other gay guys don't want to do that, because mostly gay people are not allowed to live. So when they move to certain settings where they are free, that is when they get to live their childhood inside of them. By the time the child grows, the body is already grown. But I was allowed to live. So there's no child in me that needs to grow.
Needs to grow.
Yes. So there's always there, and it has to do with mental issues and personality issues and family issues, and I don't have time for that.
Okay, so your situation is more to do with the person's background and upbringing more than to do with the fact that
because I want to see your mom, and your mom needs to love me.
I see.
Because I love myself. I don't want you to know my family, and I don't know anything about you.
And you think in the black community it's harder for the black gay guys to be themselves?
It is quite difficult.
You were talking about the community. I want to hear more about that. Give me some, because I've not noticed that there's a community like
that. There is a community, of course. We have a huge community here, but again, because of classism, people are in their little corner. But we know ourselves. Like when I was getting married, I had my friends. There were a lot of black people. Like, oh wow, these are all here. Yeah, they came when we have events like Christopher Street Day or even Carnival de Couture. We meet ourselves. Even though sometimes we don't even write that we're going to meet, but we know each other, and then we write. And some are working like in embassies, and so we know ourselves. And again, this classism is everywhere. So I wouldn't hang out with certain people, and they would also not hang out with me. It's not only from my side, it's also coming from the other side. Or when you meet, you realize that you don't fit together because your mindset and the way you do your thing doesn't really fit. So we have this, it's a small group, but there are different
groups.
Yeah.
So it's pretty much like the larger black community.
Exactly. And we tend to be more close because there are some of us that are, for me, I'm living in a universal world. So I have a lot of heterosexual friends, have a lot of gay friends. It's a mix. I don't discriminate that. But there are some people, they are only in the gay world, and some people, but when you leave or when you come from Ghana, you already live in a heterosexual world, being a minority. So you tend to learn how to deal with everybody. So like my circle of friends, we have general friends. Doesn't necessarily become or be gays, but more heterosexuals and more, because we know how to live with, and they are pretty much comfortable with themselves. So it's all about you being a person. That's the most important thing. It's not about your sexuality, it's about you being a person and very open-minded. And we just roll and click, basically.
One thing I've tried to do with this podcast is I've tried to open up conversations amongst the Black community.
This is good.
And I think in order for us to do that, we have to include everybody.
Yes.
Everybody has to be a part of the conversation.
Absolutely.
How do you feel? Do you feel like the Black community in general has allowed Black, gay, or lesbian people to be a part of the conversation?
Absolutely not. Not. And I have so many examples. When I came, I used to go to church. I still do pray, but I don't pray to a white Jesus, by the way. I had to
another conversation about that.
All together. So when I was in the church, I had an accident or something, so I went to sing, and then they noticed that, oh, you could sing. Another week, I went to the church, and a lady came up to me and said to me, oh, brother, I like you. God really loves you. So, backstory. When I'm going to church, I'm all dressed up. I'm done. Then time, I used to relax my hair. I don't touch my hair anymore. So my hair is done looking. Berlin has a certain cut. You cut down and your top is up. So I became very German again. That was how I was shaving my hair. But I had to relax because when I go to the barber, they insult me because my hair is too hard. They put the machine in and it gets broken. So I have to always relax my hair before I go there so they can shave me. And this lady came up to me and said, yeah, you look so nice, but God likes you. You are single. You can be for God ministry. But there's something God revealed to me that I have to tell you, that you're gay and you have to change out of it. She said in a different way, not so gay, but I'm just saying it straight. So you have to repent for it. I'm like, I am married. What are you talking about? I've been married for more than how many years now? And you are telling me that I'm not being gay from today. I'm born there. So what are you talking about? That was the last day I stepped into that church.
What did she say when you said that to her?
She just looked at me and then referred me to the husband, who is a prayer, whatever, to go and pray. I've gone through all of that. I've been prayed for. I've been given fasting. I've been casted demons, but the demons, they went out and they came out again in 7 folds. So what are you telling me that I haven't heard? I was a school chaplain. What are you telling me that I haven't heard? So I told myself, and since I was living in Germany, my brain was changed, that I'm not going to allow anybody to put me in that corner before, because here they are right for me, protect me. I don't need that Jesus of yours. And that was the last day I set my foot in church. And because of that, it helped me to eliminate church from my mind. Because sometimes when you go to church, I remember when I used to go to church, I find it to be a place of refuge. And I was asking God, why me? Because I'm good at what I do. So if I'm that cursed, why are you blessing me so much? So when I moved to Europe, it was more like a part of me that I wanted to hold on to go to church, to build a community. But I realized my kind of a person, I'm not needed there. So that was the last place that I realized.
So outside of church,
I just had friends, German friends.
And do you think you're included in the conversation
outside church?
Outside
No.
Still no.
They don't include us. The only way you get inclusive is when you come and you are the boss. Then they have to deal with you. So we are not included in the conversation, because among most Africans, it's just a man and a woman. Even though they are living here, that's what I find very difficult. Because with all the education and with all the sexual education, sexual orientation to our disposal, people just refuse to learn. But if they had their way, they would treat us like we are being treated in Ghana. But or back in most African countries that are very homophobic. But because there are laws here, they just have to tolerate. So we are not included in the conversation at all. It's like even the first time I'm having a conversation with someone outside the context of LGBT issues. Anytime I'll get an interview call, it's about an LGBT issue coming somewhere, they want you to talk about it. General like this, never. It never comes.
That's for everybody has to be a part of the conversation.
That is how you build a nation.
Exactly.
Our iPhones would not be possible if we had excluded the founders of the iPhone. And this is one thing that I always find it a problem to our countries, our respective countries. You cannot build a nation with a set of group and eliminate other group, because you need, it's like a human body. You might think this your finger will not hurt you. Wait till it hurts. It affects your brain, it affects your entire part, but it's just that part. You need every part, hands on deck, to work to build a country. Most of the LGBT people that I know, Africans, are very talented. They are very resourceful. They can do a lot of things. But we've all left. And we are here. And we are using our talent,
Brain drain,
to push this. Somebody will sit online and say, we don't need you, stay there. But probably that will be your next person that will create your iPhone for you. And it's gone.
It's just, for me, it's just the unwillingness to let people live their lives and you live yours. It has nothing to do with you. You're not in their home. You are in your own.
You don't even have to be
You don't
their
know
home.
this person. It's like the unwillingness. That's what bugs me.
I really don't get it myself, personally, because I never think of a heterosexual person and think about putting in quotes how they're having their sexual intercourse. I never think about that. It never crossed my mind. So why are you watching some porn somewhere you're not talking about? Because
Could be.
heterosexual men that are very confident with themselves. I have a lot of friends, we go to clubs, we go to parties. It's all gays and they're all the hetero people. And nobody comes to them, bother them. Or even women love to go to gay bars because men will not bother them. And these men, heterosexual wife, kids, very confident with themselves. It doesn't bother them. But always, the people that are having something in their closet, they're hiding, they are bisexual, they cannot live their life. How dare you live your life? They always seem to have a problem. Because on the normal basics, why should it bother you? But anyway, we are not included. And I find it's sad, because at the end of the day, by excluding us, how are you going to deal with your child that ends up being gay or being bisexual or being lesbian? How are you going to deal with that? I had a friend of mine, I'm not going to mention his name, the son almost took his life. No way. And this is back in London. The father called me, the father is very open-minded, talks to me. He called me and said, Ernest, please talk to my son. Because the son couldn't open up to the parent. So I talked to the boy. And after our conversations, a few months, the father called me that his son is doing so well. He's very open. He's talking to him because he loves his son. And he doesn't have a problem with his sexuality or whatever. But the son was afraid to be open. So I didn't even talk to him about the sexuality. I just talked about general things being... And the son used to see my videos and was very confident. I know people that have left Ghana because of me. Because they're like, they lived their life through me. And with my confidence, it helped them to move up. Because I spoke to them, like, just leave that place and go where you'll be celebrated, not where you'll be tolerated. And they are very glad they did it. Even though we still have a part of us, not that we hate Ghana. I love my country. But I cannot grow there. Because I'm not included in the subject. And the world has changed. We cannot, so when are we going to pretend that we do not exist? So when? It will keep changing. These kids that are born, they come out with mobile phones in their hands.
Yeah.
Those times our parents hide the movies and then we have to search for it. These days, they are watching it while as they are in their womb. So the world has changed and people need to be open. You don't need to like the person. You don't need to, but just be open and see the other positive side of them that can build a nation and help. Just in case a family member of yours ends up being different, how you can navigate it. Because I always say, and why I'm very strong and live my authentic life is, I want to be that person that I wish I had when I was younger. That I could look up to somebody and say, oh, I'm not a curse. I'm not a demon.
Yeah, that's another thing, isn't it? It's the representation.
Representation matters. Visibility matters. So I try to be visible as I can. I'm not the type that I'll put in your face. Someday I'll just post me and my husband and our daughter. And when I'm posting, I'm very, very intentional. And I know, and I'm very controlling. I'll not post for you to come and insult me. You insult me, I'll block you. That somebody sitting somewhere can see, not for you, but for that one that is different. Know that, oh, I am not alone. Oh, there's somebody out there who is professional, who is hardworking, who can get it all. And I can also aspire to get it. And my sexuality will not be a problem or my hindrance. Just put it aside and focus on being successful or a better person in future. That has always been the back of my mind. When I post anything, I always try to be as positive as I can and vulnerable as I can because I'm human. But just for that child that needs to see, and regardless of what anybody is saying, feels they are not alone.
That is very valid.
And they can
That is very valid.
live and not kill themselves. Because I try to, but the knife didn't go, and I'm happy because fufu is nice. Eating is good.
Man said fufu is nice, you know.
Eating is good. I realized them. Because if I had killed myself, it would have been a loss for my mom.
Yeah,
it would have been a loss for my brother because I'm a blessing to the people that are behind me. It have been a loss.
Even the people who are watching that you don't realize are watching.
Yes.
So, Ernest, thank you for coming. Thank you for coming. I think my hope is that when we are having this conversation collectively as a Black community, we're able to involve everybody into it. It doesn't matter your sexuality, doesn't matter your gender. Everybody has to be part of it. And I've learned a lot speaking to you today. I don't think this is a conversation that I've ever actually dived into or ever had, to be honest.
I even haven't had a conversation with any heterosexual person or in a sentence like this. It's either I'm talking to gays or a general fashion conversation. Like this is the first time I'm doing it.
We should do more of this. I think it's important.
It's
we need
very
to speak.
And actually,
dialogue.
In Germany, I haven't even seen such a conversation. It's always heterosexuals. And sometimes it doesn't make me get involved because I'm like, there's nothing there for me. Because we are also here. There should be visibility.
And representation.
And representation. We want to be represented as Blacks. But we want to select what kind of Blacks need to be represented.
We represent, that's the thing. So as soon as she reached out to me, I was like, I haven't thought of this, but I'm going to go for it.
I saw it like, nah, I'll be here.
Thank you for reaching out.
Thank you for
having you come in and talking to us. Great. Hopefully I can get you for one of the later episodes in the coming seasons.
I am coming. I love it. I'm coming again.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it, man. Thank you.
It was a pleasure.